Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Friday Live. This is, hang on, let me get this microphone sorted. This is Fiona Lukes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can chat about today. This is my normal Friday Live Q&A, where at 1:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. We're in Daylight Savings in Australia now, which is wonderful. I'm here live to answer any questions that you may have. So if you've just joined in, feel free to say hi. Let me know where you are from. Oh, that's my assistant messaging me. I will pause that notification. Let me know where you are from, and if there is anything I can do to answer any questions that you may have. This is just something I do every Friday, just to see, hey, I know a lot of you have got questions around relationships, around life, around overthinking, around feeling stuck, around how to move forward, or around all sorts of things. So this is where I'm showing up just to see what I can do to answer any questions and be of service to you in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to give us a little bit of time for people to jump online and join in. But if you are online and watching, feel free to say hi so I can see where you're from. I always love to know where in the world people are from and where you're listening from, what time of the world it is, what time zone you're in. So if for those of you who don't know me, my name is Fiona Lukes. I specialize in the relationship space, and I have done for many, many, many years now. It's an absolute passion of mine to help people just, I guess, in many ways, up their relationship skills, give you a fresh and completely different approach to relationships. Because if you've just joined in, I have a very, very different way of approaching them, where you don't need to do lots of rehashing of the past. You don't need to go back and relive all the problems and all the issues, where you can actually find a way to start afresh and genuinely start afresh and feel like you are coming from a fresh space. Now, this is so important, and it is something that people don't realize is possible, but this is something human beings are built to do. And when you understand the operating system of a human being, when you know how things work, you actually see the truth in what I'm saying. And it's so much easier and lighter and freer and far more enjoyable. So what I teach you is, a lot of people say to me, is a breath of fresh air in the relationship space. So not being bogged down in all the problems, all the issues, even though those things do get addressed, but they get addressed from a very, very different space, where people feel lighter, freer, calmer. They've stopped all the overthinking and overanalyzing, where there's goodwill and all those other wonderful things, which are what create amazing relationships. So if you've just joined in, please feel free to say hi. I always love to know where people are from and who's on the line. And if you have a question, please feel free to type it in the comments and chat box, and I will absolutely do my best to answer that for you. If you want to ask me a question for future lives, just send your questions to hello@fionalukes.com.au, and I will do my best to answer them for you. I will put that email address up here for you now. I should have done that earlier. Oops, trying to do that in front of my microphone. Yeah, so let me just check in. Can people hear me okay? I should just check that you can actually hear my sound. There we go. There's an email where you can send any questions that you have through, and I will answer them for you. Bit too late for today's live, but certainly for next Friday's live, I'm happy to do that for you. If you've got a relationship question, a question about you, your relationship with yourself, as I talk about a lot, there are 3 key areas in relationship. There is your relationship with you. There is your relationship with life, one that is very often underlooked or overlooked, I should say, not underlooked, overlooked, and is so important. Okay, and then there is your relationship with others. But it is these 2 things, your relationship with you and your relationship with life, that absolutely determine the third one. So these are the ones that people don't look at enough. They're too busy looking at our relationship with others, but these 2 determine this one right here. Hey, Olivia, welcome. Nice to have you join us. Welcome. Hey, Roz, nice to see you, honey. Thanks for saying hello. So Anyone else watching who wants to say hello, feel free to do so, and please post a question in the comment box for me. One of the things that has come up, and whilst I'm waiting for someone to put a question through, one of the things that has come up a lot for me this week, and I tend to, with each one of my lives, draw from things that have shown up. Hey Maz, welcome. Thanks for saying hi, honey. It's lovely to know there are some familiar faces on the call. It's always a lovely thing. So one of the things that what I normally do on these calls is I draw from what is kind of current or has come up in my work with my private clients or with my students in the Relatable program. And, there's a couple of things that I want to address. As human beings, we misunderstand what our feelings are telling us. That is why I spend a lot of time teaching this in module 2 of Relatable. Hey, Brian, welcome. Nice to see you, Brian, as always. We misunderstand things massively. We misunderstand what our feelings are telling us. We completely misunderstand the role of feelings. We've been taught the way feelings work in a very backward and unhelpful fashion. Our feelings are very, very unreliable around how true our reality is and how true our thinking is. They really, really are. There's a whole other way to relate to them, which I teach in module 2 of Relatable. But what I think is really interesting is, because we don't understand the role that feelings play in our lives, we can misunderstand what our feelings are telling us. And this is a massive, massive, massive reason why relationships break down. Huge. Just this alone. Hey, Naomi. Nice to have you on the call, honey. I will come to you. I'll come back to your question in a second. Because we don't understand the way human beings work, we misunderstand what our feelings are telling us. So, for example, if you have a feeling of urgency, okay, a feeling of urgency is a red flag. Or if you have a feeling of and this was a big one that came up on the call on Wednesday night for Relatable with one of the students. She was in a state of not knowing about something. She said, I don't know what to do. And she was describing a situation, and she said, I'm not sure what to do. And really, the problem wasn't the fact that she didn't know what to do. The problem was the fact that she was uncomfortable with the fact that she didn't know. And, one of the things we talked about was, not knowing is a great place. When you don't know, it doesn't mean that you need to know. Okay, because we misunderstand what feelings mean, because we misunderstand the way we work as human beings, and we misread so many things, which is what causes an enormous amount of overthinking and analyzing. Because you don't have that understanding, this is why people overthink. When people understand how human beings work, they stop overthinking. Their thinking slows right down. And I'm seeing your question there, Olivia. Do you have some ideas or techniques to stop overthinking? Here's the thing: you don't need a technique. Okay. The minute you try and stop overthinking, you go into battle with yourself, Olivia, and you just think even more, because you have to think about your thinking. Okay. And as you think about your thinking, your head speeds up even more, right? We don't need a technique. Techniques don't work, right? They don't. They just put more pressure. They put more intensity on the thinking, and they cause us to fight ourselves. And when you go into battle with yourself, you will never, ever, ever win. Ever. Okay. You cannot change your thinking or stop your thinking. You can't. This is a myth that has been portrayed out there in the personal development space, in therapy for so long. You cannot stop yourself from thinking a certain thing. You can't stop yourself from overthinking. What you can do is have a very different relationship with your thinking. Okay. And as you have a different relationship with your thinking, everything starts to slow down. It doesn't make sense to ruminate. It doesn't make sense to analyze. You actually start to understand what's going on with you, and overthinking stops making sense. It just stops looking like a good idea. Now, when something stops looking like a good idea, when something stops making sense, it's amazing what happens to our minds. Our minds just slow down. They slow right down, and they do so naturally and organically. Okay, they really, really do. It's we have a really big misunderstanding out there with us human beings that we can think our way out of a problem. You do not think your way out of a problem. You think your way into one, but you can't think your way out of one. Okay, it doesn't work that way. But when you have a different relationship with your thinking, when you're not resisting your experience, things start to fall away. And when we're less frightened of our experience, we start to come from a completely different space. We are more grounded. We are clearer. We are calmer. We have a greater level of peace of mind. We know when our mind is racing and we show up to life and things differently instead of battling a racing mind. One of the biggest problems there are areas in life at the moment is people have a chronic overthinking addiction. They do. And this is not just you, Olivia, but like I would say everybody on the planet, and they just don't know it because it looks normal to them. Having their mind racing really fast, they've got a high tolerance for overthinking. They've got a high tolerance for being busy minded, and they don't even realize, okay, that that's not normal. That's not healthy, I should say. It's probably better than not normal. It's just not it's not a healthy state of mind. Our mind is not meant to be racing. We don't need to do that. There's a whole other avenue available to us when you understand the operating system of a human being. And as you would have heard me say many times, the operating system of a human being is exactly the same, whether you are young, old, male, female, no matter what culture you are, no matter what your sexuality. It's got nothing to do with anything. We may look different, we may sound different, we may express ourselves differently, but our operating system is the same. And the more we look in the direction of sameness, the calmer people are, the clearer people are, the more peaceful people are, and the more connected we feel to ourselves, to life, and everyone in it. This is actually where connection comes from. It doesn't come from someone else's behavior. It comes from you understanding what's going on with you and the quality of the feeling you're in. Okay? So, when we don't understand the role of feelings, when we don't understand how things work, we just misunderstand things. So I see people all the time misunderstanding what urgency means, what urgency is telling them. People see urgency as, I've got to fix it, I've got to do something. What if that wasn't what urgency means at all? Because when we're urgent, when we've got a sense of urgency, that's when we normally, we normally have a sense of urgency when we're upset. That's when we're most likely to say something we regret to the people we care about. That's when we're most likely to judge and project and attack somebody else, right? Because we have this, I need to talk about this. I need to sort this out. I have this problem. It's like urgency is a false feeling. It's very untrustworthy, okay? It is absolutely something that is a distortion of something else. And if you don't understand that, you will find yourself operating from a place of urgency and saying and doing things you regret and making decisions that you regret. And I can't tell you how many people get that feeling and misunderstand what that feeling means. So many people. Okay. So coming back to the, hi, Diane. Thank you for saying hi. Whereabouts are you from, Diane? Whereabouts in the world are you? When you don't understand the role of feeling. So going back to the student I had on my relatable call on Wednesday night who was in a state of indecision. When you actually are able to rest in a state of indecision, right? When you're able to rest in a state of indecision becomes something that is a calm, peaceful place to be, instead of indecision being something that you are afraid of, instead of indecision being something that scares you, instead of indecision being something where you feel you've got indecision does not mean that you have to make a decision, right? See, this is an interesting thing. So many people think, and this is what I mean by people misunderstanding the role of feelings. People think the feeling of indecision means that you have to make one. And so then they start cycling around everywhere. How can I make a decision? How do I work this out? Where do I go from here? They bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce. And then they overthink. And then they get stressed, anxious. And then it spirals from there. Okay. See how when we misunderstand the role of a feeling, how it just snowballs? Okay. Snowballs. Hi, Franca. Oh, Kalgoorlie. Kalgoorlie. Okay, beautiful. Welcome, Diane. Welcome. Hi, Franca. Welcome to the call, honey. Now, I think you may have told me before where you're from, but feel free to remind me. I think I've forgotten. Hi, Jason. Hello there. I think you are in Minnesota. Is that right? I remember from last week. Amanda. Hi, Amanda from the UK and someone who can't sleep. Well, this is a great use of your time. Amanda, if you can't sleep, welcome to the call. I'm honored in your sleepless state that you've logged in. Oh, you're in Melbourne, Franca. Okay, perfect. Welcome, welcome. Texas, is it, Jason? I'm so sorry. My sincere apologies. Amanda, my thinking switch kicks in as soon as I go to bed. Yes, I think a lot of us can relate to that. The overthinking. I can't tell you how debilitating overthinking is, and how it takes away from our quality of life. And it doesn't have to be that way, guys. It really doesn't. When your relationship with you is different and you have a different relationship with life, the overthinking drops off. It slows down all on its own. It's unbelievable. I see this in people, in my clients' lives all the time, people in my relatable students who do module 1 and 2, where I teach how to navigate your thinking and I teach the role of feelings, and all of a sudden they have a completely different relationship to their thinking and feelings, and all of a sudden there's a sense of relief and lightness, and they sit there and go, oh my God, I can't believe how different I feel. So, the quality of the feeling you live in is so, so, so important, guys. And as I say to people all the time, there is such a deeper, better feeling on offer for you, way more than you can possibly realize. And this is why I say to people, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, because knowing that I can tap into a deeper feeling has been life changing. Right? Life changing. So I think, hang on, I'm going to come to these things. Let's go back to some of these questions. All right, so we're going to go to your question, Naomi. How do you stay motivated in life and seeing the point to anything in these current times? I now have no job because of my choices and concerns. A lot of this, Naomi, is really, really important, because it is about trusting and having faith in something bigger than you. And it's a big part of what I talk about and teach, is a big part of your relationship with life. And I know that is hard. I appreciate what you're actually saying. I get it. I really, really do. And this is a hot topic around the world of when we're being mandated to do something, and honoring our own choices and honoring the fact that every human being has been given the gift of free will. We have. Every human being has been given the gift of free will, and it goes against universal law to override another human being's free will. It just does. Whether you agree with me or not, that's just the way it works. And so whenever anybody tries to override anybody's free will, you are going to see chaos and anarchy, whether that be in a parenting-child relationship, whether that be in an intimate relationship at home, whether that be with people at work. When you get someone that comes in and overrides someone else's free will, when they don't work with people, when they don't have a meeting of the minds, when there isn't partnership, all of these things that I teach, you get anarchy, because overriding another person's free will, that is like a big, big no-no. And we are seeing this all over the world right now. Hence one of the reasons why there is so much angst, so much concern, so much activity going on, people protesting, people saying no, people doing whatever. Okay. So all I can say to you, Naomi, is it's so, so, so important. This is where I would be looking into your relationship with life. This is so, so, so important. A big, big part of my life. I have a huge amount of trust in something, in a deeper intelligence, a deeper wisdom that resides in all of us. And a big part of what I teach is teaching people how to tap into that, so they know when they are there, and they know when they have thinking they can trust, and when they have thinking they cannot trust. When they know they have a reality that they can trust, when they know they have a reality they cannot trust, when they know they are honoring of themselves, and when they are not doing so. And your relationship with life is a very, 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 very big part of that. Okay, a really, really big part of that. So that is my answer to that question. And I hear you, honey, and you have my complete and utter empathy. I totally understand where you're coming from. There's a lot of things in the world that are testing our faith and testing our trust in many, many things. And, for many people, the journey of the funny little human, as I call us, is very much about having faith and trust in something bigger than us. It really, really is. Now, a lot of you are going to poo-hoo what I'm saying, and a lot of you are going to say that's ridiculous, and a lot of you are going to have an opinion about that, and that's fine. That's totally okay. But I'm telling you right now, it is one of the most important relationships in your life. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm not remotely religious. I'm talking about something that is true for all of us. And when you look in that direction, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because there's a feeling that brings into your life, a feeling that you don't get anywhere else, not from overthinking, not from planning, not from doing, not from acquiring. It doesn't come from there. It doesn't come from anything that I would call form. It comes from somewhere else. And when you look in that direction and you tap into it, life and everything in it has a greater sense of ease. And I mean relationships, I mean everything to do with it. Okay. Hey Serena, I'm stuck. I'm so happy to hear you live. Okay, thanks Serena. What are you stuck with, honey? Let me know what you're stuck with and I'll see if I can help you. Josh, this is a question best answered at one of the group calls. I cannot give you the depth of answer to your question here, Josh. I haven't seen you on one of the group calls. I suggest you jump on one of those and ask that question there. These kinds of questions, I just can't give you the depth of answer because the people listening don't have the understanding that I teach, and I cannot answer it the way I would really like to answer that for you, Josh. So I really encourage you to ask that in the private Facebook group or on one of the group calls. Okay, that's really, really, really important. Okay. Hey, Carly, nice to see you here. Welcome, welcome. Roz, is there a way to stop being so sensitive around comments that I interpret as nitpicking? Well, Roz, it's like anything. If you were to check in on the feeling you're in, you would know where your reality is or isn't at. Okay. It really is. And you would also know when you are in the right space to handle that and when you're in the right space not to. And it's okay feeling frustrated. Like, what does it matter that you feel frustrated? As you know, I would say to you, let it pass and see what else shows up. Always. Whenever we're having a feeling that we don't really like, then you need to hey, Naomi, that's the private Facebook group for people who are in my Relatable program. So if you're a member of the Relatable program, there's a private group for all of those guys. And we have pretty in-depth conversations about all sorts of things in there. Yeah, you need to have purchased the program to be part of that group. But if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Okay. And yes, holding the line is so important for so many of us right now, even in the face of a lot of judgment, even in the face of a lot of negativity that comes with that. This is where our faith is being tested in many, many ways, whichever direction you are in. All right. And I'm not going to get into the whole yes, no, right, wrong here at all. Everyone's got to do whatever they feel is right for them. Hey, Carly, the greatest thing about the Relatable program is that no matter if you're religious or not, it's still super easy to understand this and gain major insights from. Just love being a part of this group, Relatable family. Yeah, we are a family. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a beautiful conversation. I'll put a link to the program up here, Naomi. And if you've got a question, there's a few people on the chat here that have done it or in it or have just joined, and they'll answer any questions that you have. I'm not asking anyone to be on the call here, but people absolutely love the program and the conversation. It's truly extraordinary, and it's a conversation you just won't find anywhere else. Very, very, yeah, just a beautiful way to live your life, and easy and simple, and a breath of fresh air around many, many, many things. But anyway, I really want to use this time to be of service to anyone here who is on the call. So there's a few people here watching now. Feel free to jump on. Let us know how I can help you. If you've got a question that you're around anything that you're struggling with, please, please, please let us know, and we will do whatever we can to assist and serve you. Okay, I'm just going to put the link into Relatable here. There's the link there, Naomi, if you want to know more about it. Okay, so those of you who've just joined, how can I be of service? What's going on for you? Serena, if you're stuck, what are you feeling stuck with, honey? Let me know, and I will do my best to help you out with that. So when it comes to life, whilst I'm waiting for anyone to pop a question in, when it comes to life, what is so important, okay? The first important thing, most important thing is, and I said this last week on the live, and I think this is still extremely important. The major source of suffering in the world, and I know this might sound controversial to some of you who are listening, all right? The major source of suffering in the world, is people not having an understanding of how we work as human beings, people not understanding the operating system of a human being. And because of that, people overthink, people get frightened, people try and control others, or they shut down. Okay. Now, when you try and control someone else in your life because you don't like their behavior, because you think something that they are doing is creating upset inside you, you show up with judgment. You show up with your tone is off. You show up from anger. You show up from a place of shame. You show up from a place of blame. You project out into the world, and people don't even realize that's what they're doing. They got no idea. See, there's an enormous amount of innocence in people, right? And there really is. But when people don't understand what they are projecting, what they're bringing to the table, this is when things go haywire. Okay. And so the majority of relationships break down because, number one, people do not understand the operating system of a human being. They don't. And it's very simple and easy, and it's true for everyone. And so because they don't have that understanding, they overthink, they misread situations, they don't know how to listen. They're not present to the moment. Their mind speeds up. And when our mind races, we become judgmental. We become aggressive. We feel like we are a victim of life or a victim of others. And we then either have two choices. I'm going to try and control that thing, the situation or the person, or I'm going to shut down and withdraw from it. Now, when we do either of those two things, our relationships suffer. And when our relationships suffer, everything suffers. The quality of our life goes down. We struggle to be productive at work. We make mistakes. We get angry at our kids. You know, people don't understand. And I honestly, I say this from a place of truth, not because I'm trying to brag. And if I sound like I'm bragging, I'm really sorry. I don't mean to. But I've worked with people who have gotten this understanding. Their relationships have improved, and they've made more money. They've become more productive at work. Or if they're business owners, they've taken on bigger deals. They've come up with better ideas. They've won contracts they didn't think they could win before. Why? Because their minds are clearer and they've got access to better thinking. You have to understand fresh thinking, thinking that is healthy, thinking that you can trust in is your greatest asset in life. Your greatest asset in life. Because when you think about it, everything comes down to the quality of your thinking. Everything. The quality of your relationships is a reflection of that. How much money you make is a reflection of that. How you treat yourself and others is a reflection of that. The decisions you make is a reflection of that. I cannot express to you how important this is. And people tend to dismiss it. They overlook it. They go, oh, yeah, But I'm telling you, it is the everything that creates the everything. And when you don't have an understanding of where your thinking comes from or how to get access to the difference between healthy and unhealthy thinking, because everybody has healthy and unhealthy thinking all day long. This is not a mental health issue. This is just human beings, right? This is the way human beings work, how we all work. It's just people don't understand this. Right? People think they should be in this positive, wonderful frame of mind all day long. That is just absolutely not true. Okay. We go through all sorts of emotional states, different states of mind all day long. But if you can't factor in where you are at, you are going to come from a place that causes havoc and you won't even know why. Right? So this is why I was saying to people last week, it's all well and good to be able to read the room out here, but you have to be able to read your own room first. And this is the weakest part of the system with people. People don't know how to read their own room. In fact, they don't even know where to look for the answer. And again, I say this with love and compassion. This is not me having a go at you or anybody. This is just what I see literally all day long. People never being taught this, people not having a muscle on how to read this, on where to look for the answer, right? And then they show up from a space and energy that creates havoc. And it looks like it's something that's being done to them. They don't understand how much influence and power they have over what they are creating, right? This is a really big part of what I teach. When you see how powerful you are, when you see that you are creating, right? When you do that, it is unbelievable the impact you have out here. Like, I mean, unbelievable. And I've been doing this for a long time, so I feel like I've got every right to make this statement. I have seen unbelievable things happen when people have this awareness. I've seen people win multi-million-dollar contracts. I have seen people whose relationships where they've been separated, living in different homes, come back together and it's better than ever. I've seen people who have been broke and stuck find their way forward in life. I've seen siblings who haven't spoken for 30 years come back together. I've seen unbelievable things happen when people know this. Okay? The key to relationships isn't about being a better communicator. That is like shutting the door after the horse has bolted. Okay? You can't be a better communicator if you don't know how this works. If you don't know how to read your own room, you can't be a better communicator. You can't, because the level of your communication will depend on what's going on in here. Okay? But if you don't know how to read this, your communication will be up and down like this. And I see this in relationships all the time. It's like this. It feels like one step forward, 10 steps back. Okay? I cannot tell you how powerful this is. I cannot tell you how life-changing it is. I cannot tell you how powerful you are and the ability you have to create change, but you have to be able to read your own room. Okay? You don't create change by analyzing everything out here, because everything that you see is a reflection of this. Everything. This is the thing that people do not understand enough, and I wish everyone did, because it's that profound and that powerful and life-changing in our relationships, life-changing in our well-being, quality of life, your relationship with you. I can't begin to tell you how important this is. Hey, interplanetary corporate conglomerate. Wow. Watching from Pine Gap Joint Defense Space Research Facility. Thank you. Wow. Well, that is a first. Hello there, interplanetary corporate conglomerate. Is there or Joint Defense Space Research Facility? Is there an acronym for that? You can say that in a bit of a shorter is there a shorter name for that? That is amazing. Wow. The Pine Gap. Well, welcome to the call. That is how wonderful for you to be here, and thank you for saying hi. Serena, so true. Yes, Serena, it is true. You know, this is why I say having this understanding in my life is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, because I now know my greatest asset in life, and it is true for everybody. It's not just me, but you have to see it for yourself. My greatest asset in life is the quality of my thinking, because thinking is at the thought of everything, right? The quality of my thinking and the quality of the feeling I'm in, my two greatest assets. And they are also yours. You might think your greatest assets are how much money you have in the bank, or how much your home's worth, or you know how many shares you have in the stock market. You might think it's a monetary thing, and I get that. But I'm talking about an asset that you can't put a price in. I'm talking about an asset that literally drives the quality of your life and literally drives the quality of every single relationship in your life. Okay? And as you've heard me say before, it's the quality of our relationships that determines the quality of our life, because there is nothing in life that you are not in relationship with 24/7. There's your relationship with you. You're in relationship with that all the time. There is your relationship with your thinking, which is the most important relationship you have. Okay. ICC, theoretical physicists need relationship advice as well. Thank you. Absolutely. And I have worked with a number of physicists, so I couldn't agree more. We all can do with this stuff. Okay. Absolutely. We're all human beings, so we all need it. No one is exempt. So I love it. Thank you. So I cannot tell you, you cannot put a price on fresh thinking and a good feeling. You can't. Because here's the thing. When you're in a good feeling, you become a goodwill ambassador. What does that mean? You create so much goodwill in your life and the people around you that people want to hang out with you. That people get over stuff quickly, that people feel emotionally safe and secure with you, that you become light and playful. Now imagine feeling light and playful with yourself and everyone around you. Imagine how good that would feel. Imagine that you could feel that way regardless of whether you've been mandated to take a vaccine, whether you've been mandated to do something, whether you've been in lockdown and we've been what? I'm in Melbourne. We've been locked down. I don't know. I've lost count. It's 260 something days at this point, I think, right? And so I am moving through lockdown with a lot more ease than a lot of other people, not because there's something special about me, but because I understand what's going on here. And I'm very protective of the quality of the thinking that I have, because I know it's my greatest asset, and the quality of the feeling I'm in. Because I know they're my greatest asset, I'm very protective of them because they determine the quality of my life. Okay. Yes, it is amazing the difference if you can stay regulated and listen to the other without judgment and not getting defensive. Yes. And you know what? It is possible for you to do that way more often than you realize, especially when you know this. This is what makes that possible. This understanding is what makes that possible. I see it all the time with people that have been at each other's throats. I just had that this week. I've been working with a couple who have been working on their relationship for 10 years. 10 years. I got to give them, I applaud them, their efforts for working on their relationship for 10 years. 10 years and getting nowhere. They've seen psychologists, they've seen counselors, they've seen therapists, they've seen, you name it, they've done all sorts of programs. And I'm not going to say which ones because I don't want to put anyone down here, but very well-known programs. Absolutely got nowhere. I have done 3 sessions each with them. 3. And the relationship has completely turned around. Now, please don't, I really want you to know, I'm not bragging here. I'm not saying that to go, wow, aren't I amazing? No, this is the power of what I teach. This is the power of what I teach. This is the power of knowing the operating system of a human being. It completely changes the way you see things. It calms people down. People stop being so judgmental. They stop projecting. They stop taking things so personally. Their mind stops racing. All of those things are very powerful for the quality of our relationships. They're way more important. Okay? They're way more important than you learning how to communicate better. Right? They're way more important than having the same values. They're way more important than a date night. They're way more important than learning about rapport. They're way more important than looking back in your past and solving every childhood issue. No. Don't need to do that. Too hard, exhausting, irrelevant, doesn't matter, has nothing to do with the now. Okay? Nothing to do with the now. I'm telling you this, and you can hear the passion in my voice because I've just got that many people that I've seen change. When you have this in your life, everything in your life becomes infinitely easier, and you take it with you the rest of your life. You don't forget it. It just gets deeper over time. Okay? It gets deeper over time. It is the reason why my relationship with my husband is extraordinary, and I am not saying that lightly. I was about to divorce him 9 years ago when I came across this. It is the reason why I've moved through lockdown still able to feel joy. Yes, I have moments of frustration. Yes, I get angry about it. Yes, all of it. I get all it. I'm not saying it's all perfect, but it's a reason why there's laughter and lightness. There's a reason why my head's not going at 1,000,000 miles an hour as we move through this. There's a reason why I'm still able to stay present to the now. It's not because I'm better than you. It's because I have this understanding in my life. Okay? Maz, she is amazing though. I'm not sure who are you referring to with that one, Maz? I'm not sure whether. Carly, my daughter Kira is watching with me and says, "Wow, Fiona must have a perfect family." No, I do not have a perfect family. I've got teenagers that get grumpy, and no, I don't even know if there's such a thing as a perfect family. Kira, honey, there is no such thing. There's just family dynamics. What makes a family perfect is when you can get over yourself, when there's humility and grace in a family, not based on how many arguments you do or don't have. That's not what makes a perfect family. right? There is where you are real with each other, where you can speak to each other, where you can laugh with each other, cry with each other, get over things together, where you're not frightened of how another person's going to react, where there's ease and flow. And again, I'm going to come back to the words humility and grace. Okay, we need a lot more humility in the world. We need people who are graceful with their highs, graceful with their lows. We need people who have the humility to check their own room out first before they look at everyone else's and cast aspersions and throw stones. Okay, this is what I mean by humility and grace. And your mum, Kira, she's a pretty special lady. Okay, your mum has learnt all of this stuff, and I've seen the change in your mum. Pretty incredible. So if you're watching this with your mum, I bet you've seen some changes in your mum too, right? Yeah. So it's not about having a perfect family. I don't. I've got moody teenagers, right? And as I say to everyone, you need a cupboard full of thick skins to deal with teenagers. I just pull out a fresh, thick skin every day and whack it on. Sometimes that thick skin is worn out by midday, and I need a backup. But it is not about being perfect. I don't have a perfect family at all. I don't even know what that means. But I have a family where we are real. I have a family where, we deal with each other's emotions pretty well. We argue. There's all of that normal stuff going on. But see, I'm not frightened of that. I know how to move through those things, and so does my family, so that we get over things quickly. We come back to what I call home base. If we do have an argument, it just becomes a blip rather than a notch in the relationship belt. Oh, we've had 5 arguments this month. That means X. Oh, they didn't speak to me nicely. I'm just going to put that in that little notch, and then I'm going to bring that in when and if required. We don't do that. That's the difference. So we're able to move through things with a lot more lightness and ease. Okay. But yeah, we have arguments, all of that stuff. It's normal everyday family. Okay. Believe you me. Okay. So, you were talking about me, Maz. Oh, I'm sorry, darling. Oh, thank you, Maz. That's so lovely. Thank you, honey. That's really, really lovely. I do appreciate that. Hey, Graham, nice to have you on the call. So lovely to see your faces, guys. So, all right. So I know I've been speaking quite a lot, so I want to just check in. Does anyone have a question around what I've been sharing with you? Is this helpful? I'm talking about the things that actually are the foundational pieces to building great relationships. And remember, when I talk about great relationships, I mean the one you have with you, the one you have with life, and the one you have with others. Those 3 areas which are key, right? They're key to our level of well-being, our level of joy, our general level of happiness, and our level of fulfillment, okay? Notice I use the word fulfillment and not satisfaction. Massive difference between those 2 things. Satisfaction is like a pale shadow of fulfillment. Okay. Satisfaction is what you get when you buy something, when you buy yourself a new pair of shoes, or you achieve your fastest time running, or you cook a nice dinner, right? That's satisfaction. And satisfaction is nice, sure. But satisfaction only lasts for a few seconds and then it's gone. Fulfillment is a feeling that sustains you through your life. Right? Fulfillment is something that doesn't come from something out here. Fulfillment comes from knowing who you are. Fulfillment comes from trusting in life. Fulfillment comes from honoring who you are, from being tuned in. That's where fulfillment comes. And, I just see an awful lot of people through no fault of their own, because they're so busy-minded, because they're so worried about the future, or they're in the past, who are completely tuned out. They're asleep at the wheel. Okay. And this is where relationships become difficult, jobs become difficult, friendships, when you're at home, you don't feel so great, all of those things. Okay. It ripples out everywhere. But it is possible for you to have fulfillment even if the world's gone mad, which it has at the moment. If there's chaos out here, you can still experience that. It is possible for you to still experience well-being even if things aren't going your way out here. It absolutely is. It's yours. It's possible. This is true for everybody. No exception to what I'm saying. There is no exception. And if you're listening thinking, yeah, but this has happened in my past and you don't know what I'm dealing with, etc. I can't tell you how many people have come to me with an exception. I'm like, and I've shown them there is none. There's no exception to what I'm saying. All you need to be is a human being, and this applies to you. Okay? Because I'm talking about something that is true for all human beings. All right. Now, it's your birthright. Yes, Carly, who is Canadian, has developed a very funny way of. I shouldn't say funny. It's with a Canadian accent. It's not funny. It sounds funny to me as an Aussie to say that statement because she's heard me say it so many times. But yes, it is your birthright. She says it with a Canadian accent, which I find hilarious. But it's not hilarious if you're in Canada. So to all the Canadians out there, love your accent, not having a go at you. Just funny the way Carly has done that. Okay, so before I finish up, because I do need to finish up soon, is there anyone else who has a question? Anyone else who, hey, Kirsten, it is funny, true. Anyone else who has a question or a comment or anything else that I can help you with today before I finish the call? If you want to know about my program, Relatable, I put it up in the chat before. And there's some guys on the chat right now who can answer any questions you might have around that. So if you want to know about that, let me know, or ask these guys. They'll be honest with you about it. And I will be here next Friday. If you have a question you want to ask me, send it to hello@fionalukis.com.au and I will absolutely answer it for you next Friday. Until then, everybody, take care. Have a really great weekend. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Ciao, everybody. Thanks for being here.